You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
It's Monday, June 29th. Let's look at a business story shaping corporate Korea. Right now, the country's entire semiconductor landscape is being completely reshaped simultaneously. We're talking massive capital expansion, serious supply chain threats, and, well, a pretty severe internal talent drain.
Yeah, it's a perfect storm.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the sheer scale of the money involved here. SK Hynix is absolutely dominating the global high bandwidth memory, or, HBM market.
Oh, they really are.
We're talking a massive 56.4% market share, which gives a market cap of around 2,000 trillion Korean won. That is roughly 1.4 trillion US dollars.
It's just a staggering amount of capital.
Right. And to capitalize on this, they're launching an ADR listing on the NASDAQ this July 10th, essentially giving U.S. investors a way to buy in directly, bypassing those domestic hurdles to fix the Korea discount. But wait, I have to push back on the math here for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
If SK Hynix holds over half the global market, why does their rival, Micron, who only holds like a 23% share, why do they command a 60 trillion won valuation premium over SK Hynix on the NASDAQ?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it really just comes down to corporate governance.
Okay.
Historically, global investors just undervalue Korean firms, that Korea discount you mentioned. Their holding structures are, well, they're incredibly complex. They're very hard for foreign outsiders to influence.
Right. So the ADR listing gives foreign capital that direct, simplified access.
Exactly. But what's fascinating here is how aggressively the Korean state is actually responding to this valuation gap. To boost national competitiveness, the government is stepping in to help Samsung and SK Hynix accelerate their massive Yongin semiconductor cluster.
By how much?
By 7 and 12 years, respectively.
12 years? How do you just magically erase a decade of construction time?
By completely slashing the bureaucratic red tape that usually strangles these mega projects. And it's not just a regulatory fast track either. It's backed by a new government subsidy program delivering up to 2.5 trillion won.
So that's about 1.8 billion US dollars.
Yep. And it's being negotiated project by project. The government is directly funding the core infrastructure, water, power, roads stuff that usually takes years to approve.
So they are essentially building the physical future of AI hardware on warp speed.
They have to.
But here's where it gets really interesting, because while Korea is building, their biggest buyers are squeezing them. Look at Apple. Their mobile DRAM prices, the chips for iPhones, surged 89% in just one quarter.
That is a massive spike for a buyer like Apple.
Huge. So in response, Apple is actively lobbying Washington to let them source memory chips from China's CXMT, even though CXMT is literally on a U.S. Defense Department watch list.
Oh.
I mean, it's like having your biggest VIP customer threaten to use a blacklisted budget supplier just to force your premium prices down.
That's exactly what it is. And to survive that kind of external pricing pressure, Korean firms desperately need top-tier talent to keep innovating. But they're facing an internal crisis.
Right, the talent drain.
Exactly. They are bleeding that very talent. Right now, Samsung's annual employee turnover is sitting at 10.1%.
Jeez.
Compare that to TSMC at just 3.5%. It's nearly triple.
That is a massive gap. What is a company like NVIDIA doing to keep their people that Samsung isn't?
Well, it's all about equity. NVIDIA offers an average of 150,000 US dollars in restricted stock units, or RSUs, to their employees every year. You get a direct stake in the company's growth.
And Korea can't offer that.
They're trying to. There's an RSU tax reform bill meant to make stock-based compensation viable domestically, but Finance Ministry objections have basically stalled it in committee since 2024.
Man. And while they lose this critical talent, there's a final blow on the software side, too.
The AI model restrictions.
Right. The U.S. Commerce Department just restricted access to Anthropic's Claude Mythos preview, one of the most advanced frontier AI models out there, strictly to domestic U.S. companies.
Which is huge.
Completely cuts off Korean giants like Samsung and SK Telecom. Couple that with Stanford data showing Korea is a net exporter of AI talent, constantly losing people to the U.S. and Europe. So what does this all mean?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, there are 3 critical board-level takeaways for you. First, that Apple CXMT dynamic is your absolute highest priority risk. If Washington approves that Chinese sourcing, Korean chip makers lose their pricing power precisely at the moment they're chasing those NASDAQ valuations.
Timing couldn't be worse.
Right. Second, for multinationals, the clock is ticking. You have a critical 6-month window right now to negotiate those Yongin project subsidies before the formal program rules lock in.
Okay, and the third?
Third, this talent drain, combined with the AI software restrictions, it creates a severe second-order risk to Korea's long-term strategy. I mean, you can build all the mega fabs in the world, but you absolutely need the people and the software to actually run them.
Which perfectly captures the core tension of this entire deep dive.
Right. This raises an important question. How can Korea build the hardware powering the global AI revolution if they're locked out of the very frontier AI models their chips run?
It's a massive paradox that corporate Korea has to solve, and fast. That's today's AI Prism, CEOs, produced with AI assistance, reviewed by human editor. AI Prism is Juan Ifra award-winning. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.